So, up until today, I've remained fairly quiet on the COVID situation, mainly because there's a lot of stuff going around on the internet and on social media. We are in this crazy phase of trying to figure out what's going on, what our place is in the world, and trying to figure out what's going to happen and make sense of what will be on the other side of this. And what I've been working on with my clients behind the scenes is something that I'm ready to finally start sharing with you, mainly just because it's starting to make more sense in my heart and in tangible experience in a way that I can teach it in a more broad kind of scale. For those of you who don't know who I am or where I've come from or the training or the background that I have, my work over the last 15 years has not just been in the holistic fitness wellness space. I do a lot of work in spirituality. I've studied spiritual psychology. I went to school for that. The majority of my training is in quantum consciousness and in spiritual healing. I've done extensive trainings in higher self-communication, DNA clearing, remote viewing at the moment as well. And one of the things that's happening right now that not very many people are talking about, and that's why I want to start kind of shouting this from the rooftops. I guess it's not really shouting and kind of at the same time, it really just is. Healers have known. Those of you crystals, star seeds, indigos, you've known this was coming for a while. And I'm not talking about COVID. I'm not talking about the global shutdown. I'm talking about a consciousness shift. Every single one of you who has been preparing for this moment, you were called. You were called maybe months ago, years ago. I was called 8 years ago. And in that calling, maybe we got a little bit afraid. I did. I will never forget this month, 8 years ago, I got my spiritual call. God, source consciousness, whatever you want to call it, said to me, Alita, you are to be a spiritual teacher. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Do you know who? Do you know my life? And in my resistance, I was so just like, that's just not me. How am I going to tell my friends? How am I going to tell the people around me? How am I going to prove this? People are going to think I drank some Kool-Aid. And yet, it took me 8 years to really understand the scope of what that really meant. It didn't mean that I was better than anyone else. It didn't mean that I had different information. It didn't mean that I had a clearer connection to God at all. If anything, it just meant that I was a channel and I had an opportunity to be a vessel. That's it. And yet, every single one of us is called the second we're born. See, the difference between the called and those who think they haven't been called is the called answer the call. We were all called the second we were born. And if you're alive at this time and you're watching this and right now you're on some sort of self-imposed quarantine because of COVID, there's a reason why you're alive at this time. It's not just to sit at home and binge on Netflix. It's because the world is going through a shift. COVID is the vehicle by which every single one of us have an opportunity to evolve. However you see fit. Some of you may need deep rest at this time. Some of you have been going and going and going to the point where your adrenaline has been activated for so long that your adrenals are shot. And maybe right now is your opportunity to reconnect with the part of you that you've been denying and saying you don't have time for all of these years. For people like me, I'm not the same. My calling is different. My business hasn't stopped. In fact, I have probably 10x'd, if not 100x'd my business. Not with regards to money, not for money. I'm not looking at this situation and saying, how can I make more money? I'm looking at this situation and saying, how can I navigate for my highest good and for the highest good of the people that I work with? So all of my clients were already working from home. Intuitively, I've been preparing them for this. Intuitively, based on 8 years ago when I got my call, I knew that I needed to prepare myself for something big. And my clients that would come to me and who continue to come to me were coming to me specifically for forging in, bringing in the new paradigm. See, what's happening right now, it's not just about COVID. It is the path from 3D to 5D. Now, what that means is that every single one of us here on planet Earth, in this time-space reality, is going through a shift in what we believe to be true, what we know to be true, what we experience to be true. Nothing will be the same when we are done with this at all. No matter how much we want to get back to the old, no matter how much we want to get back to what we used to have, it just will not exist the way it did before. And so one of the things that I tell my clients, one of the things that I do on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, I go to sleep every night knowing that the world that I knew yesterday will no longer exist when I wake up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I understand that the world that I knew yesterday no longer exists. And every day is a rebirth. And yet, these are the things we talk about in spiritual practice. We talk about today is a new day. These are all the cliche bullshit affirmations that we see on Instagram. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Does anybody really do shit about it? No. And the sad part is, we've all known about this. We've all known this day was coming. And yet we didn't have time to do anything about it, to prepare. Some of you have. Some of you have been taking all of your supplements. Some of you have been doing the heavy metal detox. Some of you have cut fluoride out of your diet. Some of you have cut parabens out of your skincare because you knew all of those things would affect your physical body and your ability to be able to adapt to the vibrational frequency shift that is occurring in consciousness at this time. For those of you who have studied quantum physics, those of you who have studied law of attraction, right now, your physical body is being called on to step up into the new vibration, the new frequency. Many of you have wanted and been trying to raise your frequency, raise the frequency of the planet, and yet the only reason why you're not able to experience abundance and you keep experiencing scarcity is because you're focused on scarcity. You're focused on what's broken. You wake up first thing in the morning and you look for your update on how many more people have died from COVID, how many more things are broken, how many things are wrong with the world right now. And you're focused on what's missing. You're focused on the scarcity. Those of you who are healers, your energy is 10x to 100x right now. Because your ability to manifest reality in the level of this contrast is so much more amplified than it was before all of this started. We need you now more than ever to get super clear on your intentions by investing your attention into something that is working in your life. And by that I mean, if we were as leaders to take 100% ownership, every single one of us, for what is going on right now. This might not be a popular opinion, and this might actually really get under your skin. But if we as leaders, each and every one of us, took 100% ownership for how we are manifesting this reality, the world would be a much different place. I mean, if I were to look at what's going on and I said, okay, if COVID is 100% my fault, obviously I was not the person who ate the bat. Okay, clearly, obviously I'm not in China. Okay, great, whoop-de-doo. But consciousness is infinite. And we are all experiencing some finite reality where things and people are dying around us. The reality around me is a reflection of what I'm projecting. Therefore, I have to ask myself as a leader, what am I doing to manifest this every single day? If I wake up another day tomorrow, I have to ask myself, why have I not solved this? Now, it's going to be really easy to go into blame and guilt and shame. And I encourage you not to do that. It's not going to help right now. But what will help is if you look at your life and you say, how is this a reflection of what it is that I'm projecting? Things that I don't want to see in myself. So ask yourself, where have you complained about not enough time? Where now all of a sudden you have all the time in the world. The universe says, ha, I'll show you. Where have you complained about fear of contracting illness? Or you complained about people being in your space? You complained about people pissing you off, driving you nuts, driving you up the wall. Maybe you complained about not having enough money. Think about all the things you have been whining and bitching and griping and complaining about for years. And think about how amplified they are right now. And ask yourself, at what point am I going to stop complaining about those and start counting my blessings? Now, again, this isn't about just one of us. It's about all of us. I look at myself and I ask, okay, great. Where have I become complacent in my life? Where am I still complacent in my life that I have to wake up another day and this shit's still going on? Where did I not show up enough as a leader that there are still people dying because I did not show up enough? What about the people who are getting sick and maybe they're not dying, but they're immunocompromised? I have to ask myself, I was blessed to experience multiple autoimmune viruses in my life. I've battled with Epstein-Barr. I had strep group A. I almost died. I actually did die. By the time they found it, I was in a hospital, surgery, recovering from the surgery, and the doctors couldn't break my fever. I had a miscarriage. I was dying from losing too much blood, not realizing that I had an autoimmune virus. Was it a curse? It was a blessing because it shut me down long enough to listen to my calling. So if I ask myself, okay, great, how many times have I battled with an autoimmune virus that I have not gone and shouted from the rooftops, this is what you need to know, this is how you need to overcome it? How many times do I need to get knocked down before I finally speak up? Every single one of us is a leader. If we self-proclaim alpha status, leader status, entrepreneur status, every single one of us who claims that we want to go out and motivate people, and we sit behind the scenes waiting for something to change, it's our fault. 100%, it's our fault. Because quantum physics reads our thoughts and manifests reality based on our thoughts. And if we don't change our thoughts and we don't change our beingness and we don't change our habits, this shit is going to perpetuate. It is not going to end. And it's not about just staying home. It's about doing the inner work. It's about vibrating a different frequency. We cannot change the frequency outside until we decrease the amount of resistance that's on the inside. Resistance comes in the form of fear, doubt, hesitation, blame, shame, guilt, frustration. Shall I go on? And every single one of us who wakes up first thing in the morning looking for another death count, looking for all the ways that things are being taken away from them, is perpetuating more of this. And now you may not be in a position where things look positive, but if you're watching this video, I bet that something inside you questions what the bigger picture is, and it's not about the government. I promise you that. It's about moving from 3rd dimension into 5 dimension. Indigos, crystals, star seeds, healers. You've all known this. We've known this for years. I got my calling 8 years ago. I knew. I was led. Can't say I actually listened. Can't say I really, truly just dived in. I wasn't. I was resisting, digging my heels into the sand. No, I don't want to go. No, I'm not worthy. No, I'm not big enough. No, I'm only one person. I can't do this. And yet, here we are. And we're all in this situation together, separate. And the only way for us to get out, the only way for this to end, is for every single one of us to take 100% ownership for how we are creating this. Now, I hope this gets under your skin. I hope this triggers you. I hope this challenges you to think about the world in a different perspective. And I hope that maybe today of all days, you choose to realize where you are contributing, not just by going out or staying home, but in thought. Because your thought is an investment. Where focus goes, energy grows. Law of attraction is a quantum law. It says that which is likened to itself is drawn. There are so many people right now pointing the finger. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Oh no, it's their fault. Oh no, it's your fault. You left the house. How dare you? And at the end of the day, who's looking in the mirror and saying, nah, fuckers, it's my fault. It's my fault. As a leader, it's my fault. I didn't show up enough. There, I take 100% blame. Blame me. That's fine. You know why? Because the more you blame me, the more I'm going to keep doing the work. And I encourage, I implore, and I dare every single one of you who have ever claimed yourself as a leader, every single one of you who has gotten that call but didn't listen, I implore you right now, do the inner work. Yes, there's going to be physical spring cleaning. Yes, you're going to shed shit out of your house and your life. Yes, you are going to clean out the cobwebs, and maybe you're cleaning your house, and that is great. And maybe for some of you, you just need some rest, and that's good too. You have to do whatever is in your heart to fill your cup, because right now the world needs us, and it doesn't need us half empty. It needs us full and overflowing, because when this is all over, the world is not going to be the same. And we will not be able to return to an old world. Jesus, if you believe in Jesus, it's a theory, it's a metaphor for me. Jesus said, you cannot put new wine in old wine bags. And there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to put the new wine of the new paradigm in the old wine bags, which is their old mindset. And those of you who have been self-declared as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a healer for all this time, you might be trying to do that too. But the world needs you to transform right now. Think of yourself as a caterpillar in a cocoon. This contrast is being offered to you. It's being gifted to you right now for you to transform. Maybe you need to shut off social media. Maybe you need to disconnect, and that's okay too. But you've got to do whatever is necessary so that your cup is so full that you are not serving people from your cup. You are serving from the overflow. That is the only way this world is going to shift into healing, is if each and every one of us does the inner work. So I encourage you, if you're watching this, please do not waste another moment focusing on what's broken. Start focusing on what's right. Start focusing on your blessings and start letting the universe know that you are ready to be healed. Not to go through your healing, not to go through the journey, but to practice, be a practitioner of healedness, completion, wholeness. And be a beacon of that energy so that those who are not awake yet, those who don't know their ability to create a different reality, can see and experience what it's like from you and understand how that frequency feels, so that they have something to aim for, they have something to look for, because leaders are not leaders in words. Leaders are leader in energy and exemplifying the message that they are looking to convey. So again, I hope this message got under your skin. It triggered you in some way. And if there's something that I've said today that hits your heart, please share a comment. Let me know. Share with somebody that you know that needs to hear this. And I will talk with you very soon. Stay blessed. Namaste.